Royal Rumble 2025 review. Let's go through the matches that won the Rumbles first. The tag match. I like the tag match. I'm a fan of tag team wrestling. I feel like there wasn't a lot of heat just because I don't think DIY have been built as well as they should be, and I also, Motor City Machine Guns, they're good, I like them, they're cool and all, but I just don't think there was as much heat as there should have been for a best 2 out of 3 falls match. Also, like, a match that was between the two Rumbles. The matches between the Rumbles always feel like it's difficult. They're shortchanged, you know. The only other time where I felt, okay, amazing, this was sick, was the Roman match, because of the post-match stuff. And talking about post-match stuff, I think the post-match stuff really made this match. I think the Street Profits finally going heel, or at least like tweener, where they're beating up both of the teams. Love to see that. Doing something new and creative with the Street Profits is good and cool if you're not going to make them single stars, because they're both possible at being single stars. I genuinely think Montez and Dawkins can be singles wrestlers. If you're not doing that, do something big with them. Turn them heel, make them aggressive, make them, you know, want to fight. You know, maybe they're not heel, but they just want the fight. They want to bring the fight to people. That's cool. That's a good way of doing the Street Profits. So that was my takeaway from the tag match. It wasn't even about the match itself. The ladder match. I think the match took a little while to get going. It was a bit slow. I don't know why they worked a bit of a slower style. I think Kevin Owens is definitely able to work a more frenetic style when it comes to ladder matches, especially. I think they were a little bit slower on this match, but still, there were some big story beats. I think I thought Sami Zayn would be more involved, but I don't know, maybe they didn't want to make him heel before the Rumble, or they didn't want to like do too much with him, but I thought he would have done more. What I do think was incredible was that shot at the end, I'll put it here if I can find it, where Kevin Owens is bleeding and Sami's holding him, and Cody's just standing there with the belts, and it feels like a Homelander thing. I've not watched The Boys, by the way, but it feels like Cody is framed as the big bad evil who has beaten a guy to a bloody pulp. And I feel like that's what they need to do with Cody if they want to keep him fresh, if they want to keep building these things with their stories. So maybe let's see what comes. But just that shot is my takeaway from that match. Now onto the Rumbles. Let's start off with them in order. The Women's Rumble. Charlotte winning the Rumble. I predicted she would win, just she was telegraphed to win with the video packages and her making the comeback at the Rumble. It was just obvious she was going to win. Nikki Bella coming out on 30th. Amazing for me, because the people I was with, I was like, 30th? Nikki Bella. And like, no way. And then Nikki's music hit. And I was like, oh my God, I got it right. And so that's why I'm happy Nikki Bella came out. But the Rumble itself was good. Like, the women's division in WWE is genuinely very good, and it is so stacked. There were good wrestlers that didn't make it in. I felt like, and this is a criticism for both Rumbles, stories that were already playing out didn't play out much in the Rumble. Like, Bayley wasn't eliminated by Roxanne when she should have been, and the same thing happened in the Men's Rumble, where people who were feuding together weren't eliminating each other, which is what was confusing me. I know maybe you're trying to build new stories, but also you're like 2 months out from WrestleMania. How many more new stories do you want to tell? But that's just my one gripe. Charlotte winning the Rumble, Roxanne getting all the way to the end. I think she was the Iron Woman of the match, and also may now hold the record for longest time in a Rumble match. It depends how long it took for her to go out after Liv and Io were eliminated. I don't know the numbers on that yet, but good showing for her. Hopefully they do something with her and Bayley at Mania. I see that being a match at Mania. I think it should be one. That would be good to see. But Charlotte winning the Rumble, I thought it was the obvious choice. Don't know where they're going to go, if they're going to go with Rhea or Tiffany. I think maybe go for Tiffany this year, and maybe really have Tiffany go over if you really want to build her as a star and build that SmackDown belt to parity with the Raw belt that Rhea has. I think Rhea can have a story with a different wrestler as well. She's already done the Charlotte feud, I think, twice. Men's Rumble. Listen, I said Jay is a potential for winning. He was one of my 5 picks for potential winners. And why? Because he sells merch. And at the end of the day, WWE only cares about their bottom line, and Jey Uso sells merch. He sells a lot of merch. If he wins the title, he's going to sell a lot more merch, and he's going to sell custom belts. Custom Jey Uso World Heavyweight Championship belts. Okay, so, one, we'll get into my thoughts on Jay winning later, but like the Women's Rumble, I just felt like there were stories that they already had that weren't progressed through the Rumble. For example, Braun Breaker wasn't involved in Sheamus's elimination, or Sheamus wasn't involved in Braun's elimination. It just feels like for them, they're going to build up to Sheamus eventually getting that Intercontinental title, finally getting that belt he never got at like Mania or something. Or like Shinsuke, his elimination didn't involve LA Knight, even though they are kind of in a feud perpetually together. And even like Drew getting eliminated by Damian Priest, even though there's like a tangential link there, Drew isn't really concentrating on Damian Priest. They kind of diverge from their story. Are they bringing them back together? Drew kind of felt like he was getting more mixed up in the more main event wrestler scene. It just felt like there were stories that were already there that weren't elaborated and built on, and maybe they want to tell new stories. But again, you're 2 months out from Mania, and in both Rumbles, there were stories that could have been advanced, that could have been told on Mania as Mania matches. But I digress. With Jay winning, my only thing is, Jay, is he going to go for the Cody belt? Because the Cody belt feels like it's wrapped up in the John Cena, Roman Reigns, CM Punk stuff. And even Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Is Sami going to be involved in the Jay story? Because Sami was eliminated by Jay. Like that's an example of the stories that were told continuing. Like Sami feels like maybe the people he was friends with are turning their backs on him, or maybe they don't trust him anymore. But Jay, I think, is going to go for Gunther's title. And Gunther's title has been treated by WWE as the mid-card World Championship. I know it main evented Saturday Night Main Event, but it's not main eventing any pay-per-views, is it? Other than Bash at Berlin. And so is the main event Jey Uso gonna be on the mid-card? Because that's what they do to the women. They put the women's main events as co-main events. Are they gonna pull a New Japan where they're like special co-main event, the World Heavyweight title match and the women's title match? Because unfortunately, I think both of the main events this year are going to be tied up with CM Punk for one night and then Cody for another night. Unless you do CM Punk and Cody and you cross that off completely for one night, but then you need to put Roman or maybe The Rock in a main event as well, unless The Rock's involved in the Jay match. You see, like, I feel like you're going to shortchange Jey Uso. And look, people don't agree with him winning. You know, obviously his last match at Mania wasn't great. And he's not, like, the best wrestler in the world. Like, he's not Gunther level. He's good, and he's got the charisma. That's why he sells the merch. But from an actual in-ring wrestling point of view, he's not, you know, Gunther. He's not, I don't know, someone else who's a very good wrestler. Seth Rollins even. So I just feel like unless they put him as the last match of the night, night 2, and put the women the last match of night 1, they need to get rid of this the winner will main event WrestleMania, because the women haven't been main eventing WrestleMania, I think, since Sasha versus Bianca, I think. And the men's main event for the past 2 to 3 years have been tied up in the bloodline stuff, or it takes the women's main event. And that's my gripe, because you're pitching it as the main event. Are they going to get the main event? So those are my thoughts on the Royal Rumble. I think the Rumble matches themselves were fun. There were surprises. You know, speed wasn't it. I was disappointed Logan Paul got to the final 3. I forgot he was going to be in the match. So I was thinking, oh, Randy's going to come out 30. Randy's going to make a return. And then it was Logan Paul, and it just felt like deflated. Because Nikki, big surprise, coming back. Logan Paul, deflated. And maybe it's because I didn't remember he said he was going to be in the Rumble. So, those are my thoughts on the Rumble. I think most of the things I want to know and think about is what happens next. How does the Rumble play into the plans? I know Cena's going to be at Elimination Chamber. He's probably going to win that, and he will probably get a match. Will he get a main event? I don't know. I don't know. So, there. it leads to more questions, I think, is the outcome of this Rumble. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but some of the questions aren't questions you'd want. Some of the questions are questions of the philosophy of the booking, which I don't think are the questions they want people to ask. But then again, is a casual fan going to be thinking that? Who knows? Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on the Royal Rumble. And hey, as always, I hope you watch some great wrestling today.